up, everybody out there in internet land? I am Travis Berardi, Big League Berardi. You know my name. Name me whatever you want. Hey, and welcome to the third year of playoff talk, where I break down all of our area team scenarios, even if they're in, where they're going to be, if they have home games, if they have 2 home games, if your team's on the bubble. Will they make it in? What they need to do if they win? What needs to happen to them? Maybe if they don't win, things like that. So we will go over all of our area teams in our North Central Ohio conferences, Division 3, Division 4, 5, 6, and 7. A lot of regions to go over. We got some video footage of it as well. Thanks to the crew at the OH Report for helping out with that. Also, big shout out to Joe Idle, as well as our sponsor right here, Spitzer of Mansfield. You need a vehicle? Head on over to the fine folks at Spitzer. They will hook you up. Click on the link in our descriptions as well. But we're going to start things off in Division 3, Region 10, where we have some very good squads over there in D3 Region 10. We're going to start with the TY Tigers, the OCC champion, Mansfield Senior TY Tigers, as they have clinched at least 1 home game in the playoffs in D3 Region 10. They could get 2 home games, though. If they win, and I believe a Columbian loss, it will come down to bonus points right there, and it's close when it comes to the bonus points. But I think if Mansfield Senior can do that, and if Columbian loses, I think the playoff points will be enough that Mansfield Senior may have 2 home games at Arlen Field before going on to regionals. You know, the first 2 rounds will be at the higher seed, and then we will head to regional sites. So Mansfield Senior, they're looking good right now. They'll at least have 1 at Arlen Field. We'll find out if they can get to a win. Helps against your rival Madison, and then you're going to be looking at that Columbian game. I think that's their best chance of somebody losing ahead of them. No bonus points as well. Now let's take a look right below them, literally 1 spot below them at number 6, the Ontario Warriors. Most likely, I don't think they're going to be able to get a home game. Just there's so much ahead of them, bonus points-wise, the matchups as well. I don't think they're going to be able to jump either Rocky River, Columbian, or Mansfield Senior, just with the schedule that they have. But it looks like they'll be 6th. Maybe if they can get a win against Highland, they'll have a chance of getting that 5th spot. Like I said, Columbian, a loss there might jump Ontario. I don't know. But Ontario, you're going to get that 1 home game. A win, you're probably going to be between 3 or 6. It's still, you're going to have to have a lot happen to get 2 home games over in Ontario. You have 1 for sure. Even if with a loss, you will finish 6th to 8th. Top 8 teams get that hosting spot in the playoffs. So the Ontario Warriors with Bogpin Miller, Chase Studer and company. Wow, what a game against Shelby. You see some of the highlights from this one. Came down to literally the last throw of the game. Shelby came out on top, which you'll see here in the next region, that Shelby clinched 2 home games with that victory at Ontario. But one of the classics, one of the best games of the season so far between 2 really, really good teams. So looking at Ontario, they're at home. Just depends on where their positioning will be, and you know, if they can avoid the 5 and 4, maybe if they sit as a 6 right now, they would avoid Toledo Central Catholic in a 2nd round game. They might face like a Tiffin Columbian or a Norton. We'll have to find out. Maybe a Mansfield Senior. Maybe you get that rematch at Arlen Field, like you know from the game you had last season. Continuing in Division 3, Region 10, and this is. It could be a win in your in-game. It's in the OCC. It's Ashland and Lexington. These 2 teams really, you know, they're fighting tooth and nail. They're scrapping together wins. Ashland had to win a big win in overtime against River Valley early in the year. You thought, oh, wow, is River Valley that good? Is Ashland? Maybe not. It seems River Valley is that good, and Ashland's getting a lot of playoff points from that win, and it's helping them out right now because they are sitting right now in 12th. They pretty much control their own destiny. It just It really just depends on bonus points. A win, they're in between, I think, 10th and 15th. A loss, they could go anywhere between 11th and completely out. It's going to depend on bonus points. There's so many teams around there that your bonus points are the team that you beat in the regular season. If they get a win that week, those points are the secondary bonus points that you have to look at. And it's too hard to determine who needs to win for Ashland. They need the teams that they beat to win. Teams that they have defeated earlier in the season, they need to beat them. They need them to beat their opponents, I should say, to get those bonus points. So Ashland, the teams they beat, they need them to win this week, and they need to beat Lexington, and Ashland is in. Now for Lexington, it's a little bit harder. They have to win to have a chance. They lose, they are done. There is no way Lexington can get in by bonus points if they lose, but if they win, they're going to be 12th out. Something that they would probably put them in for sure. A win plus 3 of the 4 teams that I'm going to mention here losing. Norwalk, Padua Franciscan, Maumee, or Bowling Green. There's a couple of those teams that have tough games in Week 10. So Lexington, if they can get a win, and then I think 3 of those 4 teams losing will give them the shot. And there's a possibility. Like I said, those teams play some tough competition coming up here in Week 10. You get those rivalry games, things like that. So Lexington and Ashland both could get it. Mansfield Senior and Ontario here in D3 Region 10, they are both in for sure. Ashland, Lexington, one of those teams possibly could get in. We might get 2, and then the OCC would have 4 representatives. New Philadelphia's in. They're out of our area, though. So a good season for the Ohio Cardinal Conference. So that's it for Division 3 Region 10. Let's now head to Division 4. Well, before we do that, I want to welcome everybody in. Welcome in to the Playoff Talk with me, Travis Big League Berardi, as I try to at least break things down. Let me know what you think, who you're rooting for, who your teams are. If you have any questions about the playoffs that maybe I can break down for you, please feel free. Mention in the comments. This is just me trying to mumble about everything that I have tried to research in the last week since Friday night. So if you guys want to comment on your teams, who you're rooting for, any questions about teams in our area, things like that, please feel free. Put it in the comments section. This is more of a conversation than anything else. I'm just trying to let you know what I think and use my Lenardi tools, I guess you could say. Shout out Eric Will for that nickname. But let's get back into it. Now let's turn to Division 4, Region 14, and that is where the Shelby Whippets sit at number 2. Now this is this could be an intriguing bracket, not only for Shelby, but for West Holmes, and we'll get into that here momentarily. But first, for Shelby, all they need is a Glenville loss. If they win, they get a Glenville loss, they will stay at number 2. Glenville has a tough test coming up. As I go back to Mr. Joe Idle and take a look at who they are playing. But Glenville has a tough test in Week 10. They play Division 1 John Marshall. John Marshall is 4-4 right now. So it's not an easy one for the defending Division 4 state champs. If they lose, Shelby will clinch the number 2 seed. If Glenville wins and Shelby wins, then they are the 3. Shelby, no matter what, though, has clinched 2 home games, so they'll finish anywhere from 2nd to 4th. Sandusky Perkins has already clinched the number 1 overall seed, as you see at the top. So they will be number 1. West Holmes now, they're sitting at 3rd. They can get that number 2 seed with a Shelby loss and a Glenville loss. If one of the 2 lose, then they will be the number 3 seed. And that is big because if we get a Shelby West Holmes 2-3 finish, that would mean they would avoid either Perkins or Glenville. That would be a regional semifinal, Glenville versus Perkins. So a perfect scenario for Shelby and West Holmes would probably be if Perkins has clinched 1, but if Glenville sits at that number 4 spot, that is the opposite side of the bracket that West Holmes and that Shelby will be at for the first couple weeks, so they wouldn't have to face any of those teams until the regional championship down the line. Now for the Galleon Tigers. They're in officially. Even with a loss, I believe they will still stay at home. Now it says on here they've clinched a playoff spot, but just with everything on here. Joe Idle, it's all the mathematics on there that breaks things down and gives you that where they could finish. But if you look more into it, there are some teams behind or ahead that are playing each other and could really determine what could happen, and it could be even the decimal points of percentage points that could get you in. So it depends really on who they play, things like that. But I believe Gallion, no matter what, will be playing at Heisey Park for Week 11. It's just where are they going to be? With a win, they will be between 5th and 7th, I think. With a loss, they could drop down to that number 8 spot, and that would be a second-round matchup at Perkins. So they want to try and avoid that. But a win, and Wauseon and Napoleon, which are sitting behind them right now, but have big games. They could get major points with a win. If Wauseon and Napoleon both lose and Gallion wins, they'll probably stay at the number 5 spot. That would be a second-week trip to possibly Glenville if things work out like we said earlier. Now, if one of those teams win and Gallion wins, then they would be at 6th, and they would avoid Glenville. They would avoid Perkins, but then they would be going at Shelby. A rematch with Shelby, you never know what could happen there, but I think a matchup with Shelby is a little bit better than a matchup with Perkins at this point, but you never know. The Whippets are on fire right now, and maybe, they keep rolling like they are. You'll never know what could happen, but with the Gallion Tigers as well, having an amazing season. So they are in. They're most likely at home. It just depends. You're going to be rooting against Wauseon and Napoleon. If Glenville wins, you want both of them to lose. If Glenville loses, you might want only one of them to drop down one spot. But we'll just find out. You never know. It's the playoffs. Now down to River Valley. The Vikings, they are in, but we don't know if they're at home yet. They are going to need a lot to happen sitting at the number 9 spot right now. A win, 6-12. A loss, 7-12. They could get that number 8 spot with a couple teams losing. Now, I said Wauseon and Napoleon earlier for Gallion. Like I said, they're taking on very tough tests. If things go the way they should, those two teams lose, and then they'll have a chance. They also need St. Mary's Memorial and Bryan to lose to really have that shot at the number 8 spot in a home game. All 4 of those teams, like I said, tough tests. So it's doable. I know it's a lot asking for Gallion, for River Valley and Gallion right now, but it's possible that those things could happen. This is the best path for these teams to make the top 8. And finally, Upper Sandusky. So you're saying there's a chance. Yes, I am saying there's a chance at them sitting in 18th because they have a big test coming up this week, taking on Winford. Those two teams are battling for playoff positioning and a spot in the playoffs for Upper Sandusky. A win, they have a chance probably from number 14 down. If they lose, they're out. So they have to win this, win and end. They win, Vermilion and Elyria Catholic both lose. That's the easiest path for them. They need 2 teams ahead of them to lose from the number 14 spot down. But the easiest path, the 2 teams, Vermilion and Elyria Catholic, have really tough tests, so that's your easiest one. A win and those 2 teams lose, then you guys will be playing in week number 11. But, like I said, the Shelby Whippets right here, they're firing on all cylinders. They even have the trickery, as you saw, with the hook and lateral to beat Ontario. But this is the team right now. Them, West Holmes, they might get that rematch from last year's tough loss. Sam Williams-Dixon ain't there anymore, too, so that helps out. Braden DeVito is a year older, and like I said, you'll see in the stat leaders coming up after this. By the way, stat leaders will be shown tonight. I finally got all the stats, so we'll have this airing for you after this playoff talk is done. But for the Shelby Whippets, they have probably one of the best shots right now, and hopefully, like I said, if Glenville loses, that'd be the best path for the Whippets from Shelby. So that'll do it for Divisions 3, as well as Division 4. Now let's take a look at D5, where it's broken up into, we're doing 2 regions this time because Centerburg is in a different region than Fredericktown and everybody else. So let's take a look now at Division 5, Region 18. D5, Region 18. Marion Pleasant. They had a big victory a couple weeks ago that really put them in And a win, it's simple. You win, you get a home game. That's what it is for Pleasant right now. Just looking at the numbers and everything else with them, they will get a home game if they beat the Shelby Whippets. It's the same thing. Shelby got a ton of points by beating Ontario last week. Now it's for Pleasant's idea. If Pleasant gets the victory, they will have a spot in the top 8. I don't know where. It's anywhere from 5 to 9. They will get that top spot, but I think they'll get 8. So 5 to 8 if they win. If they lose, they won't get the home game. They'll be 9 to 11 in Region 18. Now to the Fighting Dane Naumanns of Highland. A win could give them a home game because a couple teams ahead of them, like I said, Pleasant, Genoa area, as well as Huron, they all have big matchups coming up next week. So a Highland victory would give them a shot at a home game. Huron, they take on 8-1 Edison. Genoa takes on 7-2 Eastwood. So, and then, like I said, Pleasant takes on Shelby. So Highland still with a chance. Liberty Benton as well, 8-1 Macomb. So a win could give them enough to get in the home game, probably 7th or 8th spot for the Highland Fighting Scots. A loss, though, they'd be 11th or 12th. So they wouldn't move that much just because they have so many bonus points and their average is good enough to get them there. Now to the Freddies. Fredericktown, it's no matter what, win or loss, they still could go from 13th down to out right now. They do not technically control their own destiny. A win would really help them out. Then they would need only one of these teams I'm about to announce to lose. Elmwood, North Union, Port Clinton, or Otsego. A win and one of those teams losing would jump them up a spot and clinch a playoff berth. Now, if they lose, they still have a chance and would need 2 of those 4 teams that I just mentioned to lose. So a loss to Centerburg and Freddyburg, and then 2 of those teams or more, even if they get all 4, it helps them out even more. But Elmwood, North Union, Port Clinton, Otsego, Fredericktown, you are rooting against those 4 squads no matter what this Friday night to have a chance. With a win, that moves you up further, maybe towards that number 13 spot. If a loss, it'll probably be around like 15 or 16. Finally, in this region, the Willard Crimson Flashes, they have to beat Margaretta. They defeat them, and they have a shot. If they lose to Margaretta, they are officially out. No help for them if they lose. But if Willard wins, they'll go anywhere from 14th to possibly out. So they'll need a win, and then anybody from 14 to 17, 3 of those teams to lose. So you have Elmwood, you have Fredericktown, North Union, and Port Clinton to lose. So 3 of those squads. So Fredericktown could still win. For our area people, Fredericktown could still win, and the other 3 teams lose. Willard could still slip in for the playoffs, but they have to beat Margaretta in order to get into the postseason. That's all for them. Fredericktown has a little bit of an opening. If they lose, they still have a bit of a chance, but for Willard, no chance. 5-5 will get you a shot. 4-6 will not get you in. Now another team, the Centerburg Trojans, the lone team we have in Division 5, Region 19 that has a chance right now. They cannot afford to lose. If they lose to Fredericktown, they are done. If they win, they have a chance of the last 3 spots. So they need a win and then a loss by 2 teams above and 3 below. So they still have a lot of work that they need to do. As we pull it up in Joe Idle myself, they have Worthington Christian, Minford, and Portsmouth above, but Portsmouth plays an 8-1 team. Worthington Christian, they play a 3-6 squad, but they're a Division 3 team that they play, and then Minford takes on a 2-7 squad. So that's something they need to help. And then behind, they have 3 teams that could also surpass them with wins. So you're going to need a lot of help, but a win and losses by those teams, you're saying there's still a chance for Centerburg. Yes, Trojan fans, you win Freddyburg, you keep that trophy. at the bank, at your place, and in the locker room at the football field, it gives you at least a chance. Then you get to the scoreboard watching. But Centerburg, they've had a tough season so far. LeMaster going down, but hats off to him for coming back, not, still trying to play, getting out there as a wide receiver, making some plays as well. So Centerburg, still an opening, but you have to win Freddyburg. Then you wait and see what can go on there. Halfway through, once again, want to say hello. I'll check on Facebook and YouTube. Anybody looking on here? Nobody commenting yet. Hey, feel free. Let us know where you're watching from, too. You just tell me where you're watching from, what teams you want to root for, things like that, and we will, I'll let you know. I'm right now at OH Report World Headquarters in Mansfield, Ohio. Just hanging out on a Wednesday afternoon. Beautiful day, too. I mean, great weather. Hopefully we get that weather on Friday. I heard it's supposed to start raining. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get the 10 straight weeks of great weather. I don't think that's ever happened in my 8 years here in North Central Ohio, but we'll just have to wait and see. It's still early in the week to see what the weather will be. But I do know what could happen for our teams in Division 6. Let's head to Region 22 right now. The Colonel Crawford Eagles. Now, this is 7 teams in this region that we know have a chance. So this region might take a little bit, but first, let's take a look at the Colonel Crawford Eagles. Colonel Crawford, a win, and they have a clinched 2 home games in North Robinson. A loss, however, and they could go as far down as 6th. The big thing is, what seed will they be? Bluffton with a win over Columbia Station would give them the number 1 seed for Bluffton. But for Colonel Crawford's sake, a win plus a Columbus Grove loss would give them the number 3 seed. A win, Columbus Grove loss, and Columbia loss will give them the number 2 overall seed in the area. And now I have some people commenting here. Patrick, watching from Cary. We're about to get to the Cary Blue Devils. Paulie Prosser. Galleon, let's go. Braxton Prosser. Hopefully you were just in here talking about Galleon. John Tucker, watching from East Knox Country. I'll get to that after this region. Billy Caudill, Lucas Cubs. That'll be our last region we'll do. And then Danville, which we will be getting in our last one as well. Connor McCammon, let's go Blue Devils. Cary or – oh, you're watching Danville. Okay. So we'll get to Danville here in a little bit, but we're still in – and Connor, go Mason comments. Mason down in the Cincinnati area. Cincinnati Mason. Welcome, Connor. We're talking about North Central Ohio right now, but Mason, I believe they're in Division I school. Maybe I'll get to you at the end. But anyway, back to Division 6, Region 22. Crawford, so they're a win, top 4. But they need a couple teams to lose to do that, to get into it. Now to the Cary Blue Devils. I know there's some Cary fans in here, so let's take a look at the Cary Blue Devils. A win, and they're anywhere from 3rd to 5th. A loss, they won't get 2 home games. They will be 5th or 6th. And it's just like Colonel Crawford trying to get a 2 seed. Cary can get 2 home games with a win and a Columbus Grove or Columbia loss. Just one of the 2 teams, and you get 2 home games up at Cary as you try to get back to Columbus, or at least get back to a rematch with Crawford after what happened last season in the postseason. But the Cary Blue Devils and Colonel Crawford Eagles could both host 2 home playoff games in the postseason, and it's looking maybe we're going to get a 3-4 if that were to happen. If, like I said, both Columbia Station and Columbus Grove lose, it'll be 3-2-3, and that would be a regional semifinal between the 2. If it's 3-4, then the time we would meet those 2 teams will meet would be for a regional championship. And what a matchup that could be down the line if Colonel Crawford and Cary would meet for the region championship and a spot in a state Final Four. That'd be crazy right there. But we still have a couple things to happen, but it's possible that Columbus Grove loses, because Columbus Grove will take on, like I said, Bluffton. And Bluffton is the top team in the region at 9-0. So everybody's rooting for Bluffton. From Cary to Colonel Crawford, they're rooting for Bluffton because that would get both teams 2 home games in the postseason. Now to some more teams in Region 22. Western Reserve, the Rough Riders, Connor Dawson, one of the most electrifying running backs in the area. And like I said, right after this, I will get everything finished up. We'll have stat leaders. Finally got all the stats in right before we came on the air, so we'll have that for you here this evening a little bit after we wrap things up here with the playoff talk. But Connor Dawson and company, a win, and they should be in the top 8 for a home game. A loss, they'll go anywhere from 8 to 11, but they are in the postseason. They should be 8th with a win. A win and a Black River loss maybe gets them to number 7. I know Black River has a big game coming up as well. Not a given for them. So maybe Western Reserve avoids Bluffton in the second round and gets a home game. We'll just have to wait and see. Now to the Winford Royals. Winford has a chance still of hosting one home game. A win anywhere from 8 to 10, I think. A loss 9 to 11, so they won't have a lot of movement, but they still have a chance at a home game if they win. And then those 2 teams I just mentioned, if Western Reserve falls and if Black River both fall, then Western Reserve or Willard, all these W teams, Winford would be in the top 8. Western Reserve takes on a 3-6 Northwood team, so I don't know, but Black River, a loss there, and should give them enough. We'll just have to find out. But Winford would need either them or maybe even a Tenora loss. Tenora plays a 1-8 Hicksville team. Ottawa Hills, I think, might be a little bit too far ahead bonus points-wise. Yeah, they are. So they're rooting for Black River and either Tenora or Western Reserve to lose for Winford to get that home game. It might be, though, it might come down to Winford traveling to Western Reserve, an 8-9 matchup. That's how close this is. It might be a flip-flop, but those 2 teams look like they might be on a collision course for a rematch from Western Reserve's win, I believe, in Week 3. So we'll have to find that out. Now to the Seneca East Tigers. Sitting down there at number 12 right now. And actually, this is where we start. So the last 4 teams you see in blue, it says control their own destiny. I said this earlier. On Joe Idle, it goes by all the mathematics. So it says they could be out, they could be in, things like that right now. It says for Seneca East, like I'm saying, 8 to 12 with a win, 10 and out with a loss. Well, that's kind of not the case, because 16 and 17, it's literally the 17th rated team has a chance of jumping everybody else. That's why it says those 4 teams in blue have a chance of being out. However, it doesn't take into account that Pauling plays Wayne Trace. The 16 team plays the 17 team. And looking at the numbers, if you look at those far to right numbers, those are your minimum and maximum average with bonus points if they lose. Well, looking at those 2 teams, one of them loses, it will not catch the 4 in blue. So I can officially say that Black River, Seneca East, Margaretta, and Mapleton, you're in. Congratulations. You guys are playing in week number 11 just because it just worked out that Paulding and Wayne Trace will both be playing each other. One of the teams has to lose. That means they stay at number 17. You see, even the most that Paulding could have if they lose is 5.8. Looking at everything else, with Mapleton, 6.4 is the least they can have with a loss. Margaretta, 7. 6.8 for Seneca East and 7.1 for Black River. So no matter what happens, even if those 4 teams, Black River, Seneca East, Margaretta, and Mapleton, lose and don't get any bonus points, it will still be enough to be more than Paulding or Wayne Trace if they lose and get all their points. So congratulations. There's only 1 or 2 spots left open for the playoffs, but those 4 teams from 11 to 14 don't have to worry. They won't have to sweat it out. They are in to the postseason. But there's still some seeding up for grabs. Seneca East, they are between 9 and 12 with a victory. Most likely 10 to 12. If they win and a Black River loss, they could be 10th. A loss, though, could set them up with Cary in back-to-back weeks. So if they lose to Cary this week, it might be looking like they'll be heading back to Cary net for week 11 as well. One of those rare 10 and 11 week matchups. For Mapleton, like I said, you're in. The lowest you could go with a loss is 16th. With a win, you could go 10 to 13th. Win, and they're probably going to be 11th. Loss, they're most likely going to be 15th. But for Mapleton and everything, this is a big win for Mapleton. For everything that's happened the last couple of weeks, this is really good for Mapleton and the way they've been able to fight. Colin Klein, running back, he's one of the top rushers in the area, and it looks like they're going to make it to week number 11. They won't be home, though, but they will be playing one more week of the season. Now to the Crestview Cougars. They upset Western Reserve to clinch their spot in the postseason, but teams behind them, a couple teams can jump them even if they win. However, they are still in. Crestview, with a win, they're 9th to 11th. They will just miss out, I think, on a home playoff game. A loss, they're 10th to 14th. They will be 9th if they win, and Winford, Black River, and Seneca East all lose, which are possible. Winford with Upper Sandusky. Black River's got a tough task, and Seneca East plays Cary. So 9th, it could be possible they'll play on the road, possibly against Western Reserve once again. That might be the matchup, maybe Tonora or Ottawa Hills. But they could get up to 9th with a win and some help. They're likely going to be number 12 with a loss. Whew. That's a lot of teams in that region. And that and the region with Lucas and Danville, Division 7, Region 25's got a lot. Take a look one more time at our comments. I know there's a bunch of you watching. So once again, thank you. Ashley Broadman, rooting for the Cary Blue Devils. We just talked about them. Be cool if both of them and Crawford make it to 2 home games. We'll just have to find out. And everybody else, Billy Caudill, again, Lucas Cubs rooting. We'll have that in a little bit. East Knox coming up here in our next one. And actually, Connor, you're rooting for the Mason Comets. I believe they're in Division 1. And if I take a quick look at Joe Idle, again, shout out Joe Idle, also in the Fantastic 50 too. Really helps out with figuring out everything like playoff ratings, where they're going, things like that. Mason, there we go. Mason right now sits in 10th in Division 1, Region 4. They've clinched a playoff spot, some congratulations, but Mason will not be at home. Mason will be on the road. They win, they'll be between maybe 9 and 13. A loss, they'll be 10th to 15th. But Mason will be playing in week number 11. Hopefully they stay. No, if they go to 9, they might have to go to Cincinnati Princeton. Joe Roberts, shout out Joe Roberts, former AD of Lexington, now back down at his alma mater, Cincinnati Princeton, and they're the number 2 team. But Mason, congratulations, the Mason Comets are back in there. And thanks for watching all the way down there in Cincinnati, Connor, if you still are. Maybe not. Maybe just jumped in, saw they're doing North Central Ohio. Who knows? But anyway, let's now move to Division 6, Region 23, and these are our KMAC squads down here. Northmore, East Knox, Loudonville all sitting in there. And let's take a look at the Golden Knights. A win should clinch the number 4 spot for Northmore, with Nelsonville York's loss last week. It should be enough, but hey, just watch East Knox and watch Nelsonville York. I know Northmore fans are watching East Knox because if East Knox can pull off the victory over Danville in the Devil Dog game, Northmore would be in a 3-way tie with Danville and East Knox for the championship with 1 loss each, but we'll have to find out. Nelsonville York also, if they win, it might come down to playoff points. It gets hanky there. We don't know what could happen. Maybe they jump Northmore for the 4 spot. We'll have to find out. But if Northmore beats Loudonville, they've got a really good shot at having 2 home games at the Castle in week 11. Now to the East Knox Bulldogs. They sit right now at number 7 in the region. A win could possibly put them in 4th. I mean, a lot of points are on the line against Danville, one of the top teams in Division 7, so a ton of playoff points on the line. If they win and Northmore and Nelsonville York lose, then East Knox not only gets a share of the KMAC, they get 2 home games at Chet, Looney, Stadium. So the Bulldogs still have a ton to play for. What an answer they had from last season and the start of this season. They have a chance at not only getting a home playoff game, but getting 2 home playoff games. So 1 win, at least gets 1, maybe 2. A loss, it just depends on games below them, teams playing below them. They could still lose and stay in the top 8, but there's a lot of teams below with a lot of points on the line. They can get upset victories. They could jump them. So there's still a lot to play for in that, but there's too much, I guess, to decide what can happen for East Knox. But the Dogs right now are sitting pretty at number 7 in D6 Region 23. And the final KMAC squad in that region, Loudonville, who is playing Northmore live and free. I'll be on the call with Ken Parrott from the Castle Friday night, 7 o'clock. A win, they're in. A loss, they're out. They have to win this game. A win should put them in. Bonus points would determine the seed. So, like I said, it's tough to determine what spot they could be in, anywhere from 11th to 16th, how other teams play, if they lose, what the bonus points are. But Loudonville will be in with an upset over Northmore, a loss, and they will be into basketball season. So that's half of the KMAC teams, because now it's time to flip my page here on my playoff notebook and look at Division 7, one of the, I think, toughest regions in Division 7, easily as well, with one of the best teams, one of the most complete teams in Division 7. And all you Danville Blue Devil fans, well, Mike, looking at the comments, I will show you right about now. Brian, you kind of missed what I had to say about Centerburg. What has to happen? A lot has to happen. I'll get back to Centerburg for you in a minute, though, Ski, because we're in Division 7, Region 25. Danville, I won't know officially who Danville will play in the postseason until Friday night, but I can tell you what needs to happen for them. A win locks you in at number 2, so that helps right there. So you'll be looking at a team that would finish 15th right there. But Danville, a win gets 2, a loss, they could go anywhere from 2 to 6. They could lose that 2 home games, but if they somehow get upset by East Knox and Devil Dog, you're rooting for Toronto and Springfield to lose to keep you in that top 4. Worst case scenario for Danville. All you got to do is take care of business. You're locked in at the number 2 seed. You don't need to worry about anything else, and you'll be playing a 15 seed in the first round at home, and then you'll be playing the winner of the 7-10 game in week number 2, but that's down the line. A win, all you need to worry about. A loss, you can still get 2 home games if Toronto and Springfield both lose. But I have a feeling, Danville might be up for the task of that. Danville, one of the most complete teams that I have seen all season. They have a great rushing attack with Cole DeLauder. The Walker Wackesser as well can, he can sling it down when he wants to, but he can also keep it in an RPO. You got the jump pass that's back. The defensive line, the offensive line have been really running people over. But like I said, it's Devil Dog week. Emotions running high, everything like that. You never know what can happen in high school football, especially when you have the storylines like you do for Devil Dog. Now down to the best 3-loss team. Like I said, the best 3-loss team, I think, in Division 7 is the Lucas Cubs. The Cubbies playing for a lot. They could still possibly get 2 home games as well at Bob Wine Field. Teams ranked right now 3 to 6. So Malvern, Springfield, Berlin Center, Western Reserve, and then Toronto. Toronto plays Steubenville Catholic Central, who's right behind Hillsdale right now. They're 9-0. Toronto's 8-1. That's a big matchup. But I think if Toronto were to lose, Catholic Central's bonus points wouldn't, I don't think, jump Lucas because of the games they played. So Lucas could get a number 4 with those teams ranked 3rd to 6 on your screen right now. 3 of those teams losing, it could possibly get Lucas to that number 4 spot. A win, no matter what, should lock up a 1 home game at Bob Wine Field with the fireworks, with the music, with all that fun stuff down there. One of the best atmospheres in Ohio. One of the best backdrops, too. Them and the Colt Corral down there in the Clear Fork Valley. Beautiful, especially this time of year with the leaves changing and everything like that. If they lose, they're going to need a lot to happen. That's what I'm going to say. They're going to need a lot to happen. They're going to need a lot of teams behind them to lose. You're going to need Hillsdale, Monroeville, Lowellville, Steubenville Catholic Central would have to lose to Toronto, and I think Salingville Southern as well to lose for them to really have a chance at staying home. No matter what Lucas is in, but it's just depending on where they would be. A win 4-8, a loss 7th to 11th spot most likely for that team down in Lucas. It's tough too for Lucas because I said after the first 2 games they're the best 0-2 team because they lost a tough one to Clear Fork. One play, they had that controversial, should have been first and goal from the 25, was a 1st and 10 that helped Clear Fork score, and then the just underthrown pass. And then the next week right here with Hillsdale, you thought the Logan Tom's punt return was going to end it, but Jack Fickus and company go back down and score. And then even the game at Lima Central Catholic where Deal taken out on an ambulance precautionary. Maybe if he's still in, they only lost by 7. So they lost 3 games by 1 possession or less. They could be undefeated right now and fighting with Danville, but they're a lethal squad right now and have a chance still at maybe 2 home games. Now to Monroeville. A win over St. Paul not only gives them a outright Firelands Conference championship, but it would most likely get them at home. A win from 6th to maybe 10th. A win plus a Lowellville, Steubenville Catholic Central, and Hillsdale loss. However, bonus points, even if Hillsdale wins, might get them enough, would give them 1 home game. A loss, they could need a lot to happen. They could still get a home game, but they'll finish from 7th to 11th. So Monroeville a win, and those 3 teams, Lowellville, Central Catholic, and Hillsdale loss, would get them home. A loss, they'll be in the playoffs, but they might be traveling. Maybe with a Lucas win, it might be a rematch this time at Lucas of that shootout that they had a couple weeks ago, which was a really good game up there at Monroeville. So Monroeville, great season though. Evan Benfer, you'll see him coming up here in a little bit once we post the stat leaders. Finally got all the stats for that, so you'll see him there. How many of the categories will he be in? Well, you'll have to find out here in a little bit. Now down to the Fighting Falcons of Hillsdale. They are in. Will they be at home? We'll have to find out, as the Hillsdale Falcons a win between 7th and 10th, a loss between 9th and 12th, so that loss would just get them outside of hosting. But a win plus a Toronto loss or Monroeville loss could get them in to the top 8. A Lowellville loss might do it as well. Steubenville Catholic Central, that might be close as well on bonus points. There's a lot going on here for the Hillsdale Falcons, but they need this. A win, Toronto and Lowellville both to lose. And then Steubenville Central Catholic and Monroeville, they might be able to still get ahead of them if there's not a ton of bonus points coming that way. So for Falcons, Coach Klein and everybody, Jack Fickus, you all down there, win. Win against Rittman, get your points, and then just hope a couple other things happen. Hope Toronto either loses or Monroeville and Lowellville lose, things like that. You'll get in to a home game down there at that beautiful new facility that they've built down at Hillsdale. Final team of D7 Region 25, as I'm trying to catch my breath from all this talking, St. Paul playing Monroeville for a Firelands Conference Championship. They will not be at home, no matter what. They're playing literally for a conference title and positioning. A win, they'll be 12th or 13th. A loss, they'll be 14th or 15th. So from 12th to 15th, that's where they will finish up. They're going to try and avoid making that trip up to Danville with a loss. But a win, hey, you still get your conference championship, and you're a little bit higher up there. You never know what could happen. But that's all St. Paul has. They can going into this, they're either 12th to 15th. It's either 12th or 13th with a win, 14th or 15th with a loss. That's a lot. Got one more team, though, for you. Division 7, Region 26, Tiffin Calvert. I said this on the Pigskin last week. They needed just to win out, and they'd be the number 1 overall seed. And that's still the case. They win on Friday. They are the 1 seed. They could still be the 2 seed if they lose and Macomb loses. If that doesn't happen to the 3. So they're either going to be 1 to 3. They're hosting 2 games no matter what at Frost Cowdell Stadium. They're going to be the number 1 overall just with a win. With a loss, they're number 2 if Macomb loses. They're number 3 if Macomb wins. That's all you need to know about Tiff and Calvert. Now back to my friend Brian Skoronsky, who wanted to know about the Trojans of Centerburg. I know he's working on the cool Freddie Berg hype video that will be coming out here probably tomorrow, actually. It is. We're getting down to it, aren't we? The nitty-gritty. But Centerburg, the Trojans. We'll break this down a little bit more. Mr. Skoronsky, if you're listening, Centerburg is out with a loss. There's no help with bonus points. There's no help with other teams winning or losing around them. They are from 14th to 16th. It's looking like that with a win over Fredericktown to keep the Freddie Berg trophy. They need 2 teams above them to lose. So that is looking like, as I look at the numbers on here, Centerburg, the most points they can get, 10.1 would be their average. So you're looking at maybe, Utica maybe losing. I don't think there'd be enough with that. So Portsmouth takes on 8-1 Ironton. There's a chance there. Worthington Christian plays a Division III squad with 3 wins. That's up for grabs. Minford plays a 2-7 team, so that might not help them out. So 2 of those teams out of Portsmouth, Worthington Christian, and Minford, those 2 need to lose, and then they need 3 teams below them to lose. So Piketon plays 5-4 Westfall, a Division V team. That's right behind them. Chesapeake plays an 8-1 squad. Meadowbrook plays an 8-1 squad as well. So you're going to need Piketon, Chesapeake, Meadowbrook, and then 2 of the 3 of Portsmouth, Worthington Christian, and Minford. So there's a lot that they have to have happen. But you know one thing. Win the Freddie Berg game. Beat your rival, keep the trophy, then you scoreboard watch. And it is possible, like I said, the couple teams behind them play big squads. A couple teams ahead of them play squads as well, and then the one team with 3 wins, they're a Division III, so they're a couple divisions up, so you never know what could happen there. So you're saying there's a chance. Yes, there is a chance for the Centerburg Trojans. Whew. So those are all of the teams that we have in our area that have left. I'm going to go back through our comments section just to see everybody if I've missed anything or if anybody had anything. So Patrick talked about Cary. Really good chance that Cary and both Crawford will get the double bye, you could say, double home games. Cary has already clinched another Northern 10 championship. Congratulations, Cary Blue Devils, Colonel Crawford. Hey, a Cary loss, it would lose them a top 4 spot, but it would get Crawford at least a share of the conference. So you know what Crawford's rooting for. Galleon, like I said, Braxton Prosser's mom, I believe, out there, Paulie, rooting for Galleon. Galleon, they are going to be home if they win. If they lose, they still could be at home as well. Just they want to stay up there around 5th or 6th. If they get number 6, they could avoid Glenville. We have that whole situation. John Tucker at East Knox. East Knox still a very backdoor chance of getting 2 home games. They should get 1. They will get 1 if they beat Danville. Big upset there. Lucas, they still have a chance at getting 1 home game with a win, 2 home games if a lot of happens to them. The Danville Blue Devils, they're setting themselves up pretty for a run too. They'll be number 2 with the win. That's all. Just get the win. You're number 2 over East Knox. You get that. Cary Blue Devil fans, love the fans up there. Cary, love the fans. Mike Byers and Danville. Joe Tatman. Let's go Knights. This is your year. Golden Knights. I mean, I looked today. They have the 10th highest scoring offense in Division VI football. Over 35 points per game with A.J. Bauer, Bo Landon, Jack Swenger, Hunter Falk, Carson Campbell back there at running back, Paul Kramer back there at running back, and then the defense that's forced over 20 turnovers and over 10 sacks this year. So the Golden Knights, if they could get those 2 home games, they might sit pretty well as well. They just have to win to get in there. Brian talked about Centerburg. Mike, Danville. Yeah, also Paul Darson, you came in maybe a little bit late, so you want to talk about the Mansfield Senior TY Tigers? Let's talk about the Mansfield Senior TY Tigers once again. They could get 2 home games if they win against Madison. You got to think they're really favored in that game. So beat Madison, and then Tiffin Columbian loses. It would come down to bonus points in that case. for Mansfield Senior, the TY Tigers in D3 Region 10. Tiffin Columbian will face Sandusky Perkins, 8-0. So 8-1 versus 8-0. That should be, yeah, that will be for the SBC division title as well, I think. So there's a chance, there's a good shot that Mansfield Senior could slip in at the number 4 spot and make it 2 home games at Arlen Field before taking the road for the regional. Tony, watching from Cary, Ohio as well. Connor, yeah, okay, undefeated, be 10-0. You've clinched at least a share. No matter what, you're going to have that number. You're going to have a trophy. It's just, are you going to keep it for yourself, or are you going to share it with possibly Northmore and East Knox? That's the only thing up for Danville, and you know you want to win Devil Dog to clinch that unbeaten season, that number 2 seed, and then the overall KMAC championship. Kathleen, go Falcons. They got a shot of staying at home for Week 11. Mike, you guys do a great job. Thank you for watching. We do it for you guys. We do it for the families that are out of town that can't make it back in to watch their grandchildren, their nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters that are off, everything like that. So we do it for you. We do it for the kids. It's more of a hobby, I think, for me than a job. I enjoy what I do, and to help you guys out, stuff like this, I love this. I'm a nerd. I'm a stats nerd, as you can see. I volunteered to do this each year just because, you know, it's something. I'm a nerd. Just call me Nerdy Berardi or something. That's another nickname you can get me. Patrick, great job. Thank you. John Lynch the second. How about Seneca East? John Lynch, is this the 49ers owner watching? I'm flattered right now that John Lynch would be watching. I'm kidding. Seneca East, John. They are sitting in D6 Region 22. We'll go over that one more time for you folks that are still watching. A win, probably going to be 10th with a Black River loss. 9th to 12th is where they'll probably finish. They're not going to be at home. Tough. It's a tough finish for them, but they'll still be in. They're in the playoffs no matter what. And like I said, this is the funny thing right now. Like I said, Joe Idle goes off the statistics, the averages and things. That's what his formula goes into. So it says where you can finish. However, it doesn't take into consideration that Paulding and Wayne Trace, both the 2 teams at the bottom fighting for that 16th spot, play each other. And no matter what happens, if either of those 2 teams, whoever loses that game, will not have enough average points, even with the loss, to overtake one of the 4 teams that are in the blue, Black River, Seneca East, Margaretta, or Mapleton, to jump them. So even if those 4 teams lose, it's still not going to be enough to drop behind the loser of that Paulding-Wayne Trace game. Therefore, it's official. Seneca East is in. You just won't be at home. And it just depends if you win where you're going to be. So Seneca East, probably if you get Black River to lose, you'll be number 10. Now, if you lose to Cary, you're probably going to have to play Cary again in Week 11. I know it's not the best situation. Hey, you get in the playoffs, but hey, you get to play Cary once again. So you never know what could happen there. But Seneca East is in. Congratulations. You're in, I wish. Yeah. Hey, how about get me some tickets, huh? I'm kidding. Mike Dawson, go Rough Riders. Connor, you might want to stay tuned here in a little bit. I'm about to post the stat leaders. Connor, Mike, tell Connor congratulations. If you're, I'm going to guess you're going to be related. You're his father, I'm hoping. Connor has, I believe, clinched the rushing championship. I'll show you this. We'll show you the dad. Mike, congratulations to Connor. He is the rushing champion in North Central Ohio. Connor, you're here too. Dude, wow. What a performance you've put on to get yourselves into the playoffs. Not only that, but to, clinch the rushing championship in North Central Ohio. I will review that. Show you guys this once we get off of here. I'll post it here momentarily. But Connor, you have surpassed Dane Nauman, and just looking at the numbers, I think it's safe to say that you have clinched the rushing championship in North Central Ohio. So bravo, my friend. Congratulations to you. And since you're all sitting right there, Western Reserve, I'll go over them one more time since you're in D6 Region 22 as well. A win, you should be at home. You should be. I'm not going to say for sure because you could drop the number 9, but a win and a Black River loss as well could get you the number 7. So it's looking right now Western Reserve would be playing at home. And, I mean, looking at Fantastic 50 and some of the other websites that help out with possible playoff seeding, it might be a rematch with Winford. That close Week 3 win, we'll see. So we may get a Winford Western Reserve rematch in week number 11. And, hey, I mean, I don't know if you guys be down for it, but I might be down for it. Connor, Newark Catholic ranked. Okay. Newark Catholic, I believe, is in 414. That's Elyria Catholic. Newark Catholic, I think, is 7. Give me 1 second, Connor. No. Newark Catholic. Cannot find them right now. I just saw them too. Newark Catholic, I think they're rated low. Thank you again, guys, for watching as well tonight. Newark Catholic, here we go. Division 6, Region 23. They are hanging on by a thread. So the best they could do with a win from 15th out, Connor. If they win, they get an average of about 5.2, 5.3. They would need Rock Hill, Crooksville, Loudonville, Shenandoah, and Northridge all to lose, and then bonus points. So there's a lot that needs to happen, but Newark Catholic needs to beat Northridge. 2-7 squad could happen. That would take one of those teams out ahead of them as well. So they need Rock Hill, Crooksville, Loudonville, and Shenandoah all to lose as well for Newark Catholic to get in. A backdoor, one of those back doors, but Shenandoah plays a 6-3. Loudonville plays Northmore, who's 7-2. Crooksville plays a 5-4 squad out of D4. And Rock Hill plays a 4-5 team out of D6. So I guess you could say it's possible for Newark Catholic to get in. So we'll see. Sean King, Willard out. Willard is out if they lose. If they win, they would need 3 of the teams from 14 to 17 to go. So you see Willard down at the bottom right here at 19th. They would need 14 to 17, 3 teams to lose. So that would be Elmwood, Fredericktown, North Union, Port Clinton. 3 of those teams need to lose. And I think I mentioned earlier that those teams play some tough opponents. So it's in the realm of possibility for them to do so. So Port Clinton plays Sandusky. Division 3, they're 5-4. North Union plays a 6-3 Indian Lake team out of Division 5. Fredericktown plays Centerburg, like we said. Elmwood plays a 6-3 Pandora Gilboa. So those, it's possible, but Willard needs to beat Margaretta first. Then they'll get a shot. Now you said the Norwalk Truckers. Norwalk is sitting in 17th right now in D3 Region 10. Norwalk plays 4-5 Clyde, which Clyde is sitting at 13th right now. Norwalk 12th. They could be as high as 12th if they win. If they lose, they even still have a shot. So a win, they need Maumee to lose, or Padua Franciscan. So some of those teams in D3 Region 10, like I said, you're like Lexington. You need Lexington to lose, Padua Franciscan, or Maumee to lose, because you're right behind them. So it's possible. It is possible. You're rooting for Ashland to win this coming week for Norwalk to have a shot at making it into the postseason. So, yeah, Norwalk needs the win, Ashland needs the win, and then either Padua Franciscan and Maumee, or, well, 2 of the 3 out of Padua Franciscan, Maumee, or Bowling Green to have a legit chance at week number 11. Anybody else want to know anything? We're going on about an hour right now. But thank you all for watching and continue to watch. Monroeville is in. Yes, Monroeville is in. They just now have to see where they will play. They could finish as low as 11th. They could finish as high as 6th. So they have a chance at playing for a home game if they win the Firelands Conference Championship over St. Paul at home on Friday night, which would be a huge victory for them. I know we were up there. That was one of our main games the first year. During COVID, we went up there for that matchup. St. Paul came out with the win and ended up winning the conference, I believe, that year. Or no, that was the year that Crestview won it all, I think. But anyway, Monroeville is in. Now they're playing for a home game, John. Jimmy Chafin, Galleon? I don't know. That's the one thing I will not know until the pigskin on Friday night. I know you have a chance of playing where, but it's just too much. There's too many variables for me to determine exactly if who wins because the playoff point system in Ohio is very complex. Now I'll mention West Virginia as I always do, but back in West Virginia, this is how you did it. You played single, double, or AAA competition. If you beat a AAA team, you got 12 points. If you beat a AA team, you got 10 points. If you beat a single A team, you got 8 points. And then after that, so say you beat a 6-3 single A team, you got your 8 points for the victory and then 6 points for every win that team got. That was the secondary points. So each week you could determine, hey, I got one more point by a team that I beat earlier on. In Ohio, it's different because that secondary points, it goes by the amount of points they got per victory. So say you beat, say Galleon with their win over Marion Harding. If Harding beat another Division II squad, they got the points for the Division II victory, not just the points for a win for Marion Harding. So that's what goes into those secondary points. That's what makes it so complex. So I do not know exactly where they'll finish. By looking at the minimum with a win, the maximum with a win, or the minimum and maximum with a loss, you can determine what spot they might finish in, but you won't know the full brackets until probably Friday night. But thanks to Joe Idle, he gets those scores out, especially in Week 10. He gets them out really quick, and usually by the end of the pigskin, I know what most of the matchups are, or at least where I can say who's playing. So tune in Friday night, 11:30. I will have pretty much the matchups. Unofficially, because Joe Idle, you don't want to go officially until the OHSA posts them, but Joe Idle has been so spot on, and again, shout out to him that we can, really determine where teams will be. So Friday night, around 11:30, between 11:30 and 12, because I know our producer is going to be at Devil Dog all the way on Danville. But please stay up, stick around. I promise, I will have matchups for you by the end of the night on Friday night. Connor, you guys are awesome. Well, thank you. I'm going to try to keep up the good work. I'm starting to lose my voice, but I'm going to keep it on going. You're welcome. I did cover Robert Northmore, the Golden Knights, but I will gladly go over them one more time. The Northmore Golden Knights sitting in D6 Region 23. A win, they could most likely get 2 games at the Castle. Beat Loudonville, and then if East Knox knocks off Danville, they'll get a share of the KMAC Championship, but East Knox might slip up towards that number 4 spot. Probably not going to happen, but the Nelsonville-York game. Last week, Nelsonville-York lost to jump you guys up to the number 4 spot, and even with the Nelsonville-York win, they might slip by with the bonus points, so just root against Nelsonville-York. Beat Loudonville. No matter what, you're at 1 home game, but you got a really good shot at getting 2 home games. I can't determine because of bonus points to say for sure that the win would get them 2 home games. But Northmore should be at home twice. Brendan Gregory, New London will be back next year for full football. Awesome. That's good to hear. Speaking of New London, I will be up at Monroeville tomorrow calling volleyball. New London, Monroeville, live and free on the OH Report coming up tomorrow evening. Mike Moorhead, how you doing, buddy? Good to hear from you. Ontario's looking all right. Ontario, they're most likely going to be 6th or 5th if they win. There's a backdoor. There's not much of an opportunity for them to get 2 home games, but no matter what, Ontario will be at home. You get another home game to go watch over there in week number 11, and then, hey, if things work out the way they might look. You never know. It might be a Mansfield Senior Ontario week number 12 matchup, but we'll see about that. Let's see. Warren JFK. Tough year for Warren JFK. They lost their coach. Some of their players transferred to other schools, I heard. So we'll look at JFK. They still have a chance because they play Division 6 Southeast, who is 6-3. The best they could do is 16th. That's it. So they need Connaught Valley, Fairport Harding, Matthews to lose. And then they would get a date with Dalton. So that's the only. JFK has one spot they can play for, and that's against Dalton if they were able to win in week number 10. Anything else? Cary Blue Devils? Yes, I did. But Alicia, I will go over them real quick for you one more time. Cary, they are getting one home game. They could get two. All you have to root for is Columbus Grove or Columbia to lose. Columbus Grove plays against, I believe, number 1 Bluffton. So it's a good pop. Yeah. Columbus Grove plays the number 1 team in the region who has already clinched the top 4 spots. So Bluffton's playing for the number 1 seed against Columbus Grove. If Columbus Grove loses, you guys beat Seneca East. Cary's getting 2 home games as well as Colonel Crawford. And they would be, I believe, on other sides of the bracket. Shelby's at home for 2 games. Shelby, the only thing they're playing for is when they win, they'll either be 2 or 3. Y'all are rooting for Glenville to lose to John Marshall, a Division 3 John Marshall squad, or a Division 2 John Marshall squad who's 4-4. If Glenville loses, you guys win, you'll be a 2. West Holmes will probably be a 3, and you avoid Glenville and Perkins until the regional championship. So you won't have to go through both teams. It might work out perfectly for Shelby and West Holmes. If Glenville loses, they should stay around 4 or 5, which is fine because that's the opposite side of the bracket, and then they would have to face Perkins, the number 1 seed who's already clinched the number 1 seed, before the regional championship game, and either West Holmes or Shelby would have to go up there. Alliance. What division's Alliance in again? If you could let me know real quick, it'd be a lot quicker for me to look through. Alliance, are they D3 or D2? Let's see. Alliance. Oh, first guess. D3 Region 9 Alliance right now sitting in 15th. If they win, they will not be at home, but they still have a chance. It's so jumbled in that region. That's where New Philadelphia, the OCC, is. New Philly is in with a win over Dover. That's a big rivalry in both those teams. So at least for Alliance, if you win, you most likely, you'll be jumping one of those two. So you won't worry about New Philly or Dover. Cheney, trying to do this real quick. Just win. Pretty much, just win. You get a win, it's going to look good for you guys, but you just need to hope that no teams behind you get no upset victories. Notre Dame Cathedral plays Lake Catholic, who's 7-2. That's behind you guys. Marlington plays a 5-4 Alliance team. That might help. Cheney plays a 3-6 Youngstown East. Hawken ahead of you guys plays a 9-0 Perry, so that could help you out too. You guys could move up. Alliance could move up with a Hawken loss, maybe if you get enough. Yeah, maybe move up a little bit, but get a win. It's going to look good for you guys. I'm not going to officially say a win would get you guys in because it's so jumbled down there, but you never know. Played Cheney last year and lost. Wow. And Centerburg, they got to win. Centerburg, Jimmy, has to win. If they don't, they have no chance. But they're going to need win and then a lot of help. And yeah, anybody else? Bonnie Wiseman, as always, hello. Going back. Connor, thank you for watching. Great info. I'm glad I could get that. Crestview. Hi, Storm. How you doing, buddy? Crestview's in. You guys are in. But you're not going to have enough bonus points to get you a home, possibly to get you a home game. Yeah. Crestview probably going to finish 9th, but they need some teams to lose. A loss would get you around 12th, but the Cougars are going to be in the postseason. So that big win over Western Reserve by 1, that 2-point conversion late, gets you in, Storm. Pleasant. You're asking me all the MOAC teams, aren't you, Jimmy? Pleasant, a win will give them a home game. That's one of the easy ones I had. They're either going to be 5th to 8th with a win. If not, they won't be at home. So win, will be in. Not, they won't. Mike, yes, we will be. Devil Dog, I believe, is going to be on our main page on YouTube as well. Got to be on the main page, right? There's a lot of storylines going into that one. Taking a look. Devil Dog will be on our main YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. Let me go over the lineup for football before I get off of here and get ready to post our stat leaders, because I know there's a lot of you who want to watch that too. Arlington at Lucas. Andy Jardy, Josh Banks will be on the call of that one. They'll be on our YouTube channel 6 and Facebook page. Freddie Berg, Brian Skoronsky is going to be on the call of that one. Mark Bollinger as well. Mark coming back. That's great to see. That's our channel 1 YouTube and Facebook. WBCO crew will be at Colonel Crawford at Buckeye Central. Crawford with a win will clinch 2 home games, so that's a big one for them. YouTube channel 2 and Facebook. Devil Dog, like I just said, will be on our main YouTube channel. I will be down with Ken Parrott at the Castle, Loudonville Northmore. That's on YouTube channel 4 and our main Facebook page. And then Garrett and Storm will be at Hillsdale as the Falcons look to lock up possibly a home game in Week 11. They take on Rittman. That's YouTube channel 3, as well as our Facebook timeline. We have some highlights too. Galleon at Harding, Ontario at Highland, Pleasant at Shelby. So all the MOAC teams that have a lot to play for will have highlights of that. And then we're trying to work out St. Paul and Monroeville. Don't know yet quite what we're going to do there, but we'll see. Stay tuned with the OH Report for all of that. Nick, I don't know who's leading passing yards in Division III, but I'll let you know who's leading in passing yards in our area, in our stat leaders, when I post that coming up. Brennan Gregory going to that's going to be I think it's going to be a great game. St. Paul's got a great rushing attack. Monroeville, Evan Benfer. Again, plug for the stat leaders, which is going to come out here in a little bit. Probably close to 9 o'clock. I'll have it ready and posted there for you. So coming up here within the hour. But both teams have some players there. Monroeville, Evan Benfer and company. Josh Pokos running back for St. Paul. That's going to be that might be a shootout. That might be a shootout, or it might be a low-scoring game because they run the ball so much. But it'll be a great game to see there. But I'm going to cut things off now. That's it. Storm. Highland. Okay. Highland, a win could give them a home game, because they have a win and they have teams ahead of them that have tough games in Week 10. So we'll see. They possibly could get a home game. They have to get a win over Ontario, though, to do so. If they lose, they'll be 11th or 12th. Now I'm cutting it off. It was fun, folks, as always. That's why I only do it once a year, because so much talking, and I need to have my voice for a doubleheader for volleyball tomorrow. So without further ado, I want to thank the fine folks at Spitzer of Mansfield again. You see right here. You need a car, vehicle, head on over to the fine folks at Spitzer. They will hook you up. I want to thank Joe Idle as well, the Fantastic 50, for letting me try and get my head around all these things, and hopefully they'll work out. But I will, at the end of the Pigskin, Saturday around 11:30 midnight, we'll have it. Highlights from all those games I just mentioned, and hopefully we will have matchups for you. And then Sunday we will have the matchups officially on the playoff breakdown. Brian Skoronsky, myself, probably around 11:30, 12 o'clock before NFL kickoff. We will have the brackets. We'll have some hot, spotlights, interviews with coaches, and whatnot. But that's going to do it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to post that Stat Leaders segment for you right now. Mike, thumbs up to you too. Thank you for watching. Thank everybody for watching here tonight, this evening. Have a great end to your Wednesday. Have a great Thursday. Have a great weekend. Have a great rest of the year, whatever. We'll see you tomorrow. A lot of volleyball coming up. But for now, I am Travis Berardi saying so long from the OH Report World Headquarters.